Joining me right now, PJ Nath, the MD and CEO at Nelco, on the show. Mr. Nath, great to have you on the show. Just help us understand, firstly, what is really driving international players to apply for licenses now to provide satellite-based internet services? What within this realm is the role of Nelco, and what's the profitability potential?
Good morning and thank you for inviting me. Nelco is a focused company offering satellite communication services. So we are focusing offering satellite communication as of now for the B2B sector. Satellite communication globally is a increasing area. So it has been expanding quite well. And we see the same thing happening in the country as well. You've seen how the telecom industry has grown, and we believe that a similar kind of growth is possible for the satellite communication over the next few years once the newer technologies come in, as well as the regulatory framework eases out. That's why there's a lot of excitement in the satellite communication space in this country, and we are in the midst of that.
Sure. Could you put this in numbers as to how big the industry can become in, say, the next 3 to 5 years, and what could be the potential subscriber base that we're looking at?
Okay, see, first is that, as of now, the market is mainly for the B2B sector. We are not into the consumer space. The consumers are not using satellite communication for the internet. So that's the first point. So we're essentially a B2B market as of now, which is for the enterprise sector, like the banks, the ATMs, the offshore energy, then in-flight and maritime communication. These are the kind of sectors which are being served by the satellite communication. This market, and with a lot of new technologies coming in, for example, the neo satellites coming in, high throughput satellites coming in, and with the regulatory framework also easing out, we believe that the industry can easily go to 3 to 4 times in the next 5 years' time. Right? So that's where we see the industry growing, the growth potential for the industry. As a company, we have done well. We are listed. So you've seen our performance so far. This year, we have in the first 6 months, we have grown by about 13% over last year in terms of top line, and about 19% in terms of the bottom line. And our performance track record would remain the same or improve as we go along. So that's how we see it. So overall, we believe that the satellite communication will significantly grow in the next few years in this country.
Mr. Nath, Alex joining in, just trying to understand this. What's the kind of margin profile that you would foresee in the satellite internet service business, and what's the pricing in this service like? Could you also give us a sense of who your direct peers are in the space?
See, our EBITDA currently is at a range of about 20%, and I think that is going to continue. That's one. You've been saying about the pricing plan. As I said, we are into the B2B sector, so therefore it is very difficult to talk about the price point because the prices are determined based on that application, based on the kind of requirements that a customer has. For example, ATM, the kind of application that they run and how you price that is quite different as compared to how you do a pricing for, or how a commercial is done for offshore energy or offshore oil rig using a satellite communication. Similarly, when you go to the aircraft communication, that it's a completely different thing. So therefore, it is very difficult to say what is the price plan. Unlike when you go to consumer broadband, where you say, okay, per subscriber for X kbps or X connection, you pay so much. So I think to that extent, it is a bit difficult to really compare. So that's how it is. But as a company, our EBITDA is about 20%, and that will continue. The profitability will further go up as the scale goes up for the industry. And with also more satellite capacities coming in and different types of technologies coming in, which will further bring down the prices of the satellite capacity, the market will accordingly evolve in terms of the newer sectors we can address and the overall size of the market growing accordingly. Have I got your answer?
Understood. Just trying to also understand how the just trying to understand how the license fee works. Do you need to pay it in the form of a percentage of revenue, like is seen in the telecom services space?
That's correct. We pay a license fee. Our license fee is 8% and another 4% for spectrum usage charges. So overall 12% on the adjusted gross revenue. That's correct.
You didn't mention how the space is. I'm just trying to understand the kind of players here and where you stand. If you can give us a perspective in terms of size and scale.
See, if you look at the satellite communication, which is the VSAT services, the main players are one is Nelco, the other one is Hughes, and the next one is Airtel. They also have the VSAT business. Then we have the public sector like BSNL, who also have got VSAT services. So these are the main companies offering the VSAT services in the country for the B2B sector. So this is where we are. And as I said, we are a listed company, and our results are I think our the first half year results have been already declared. Last year, our total revenue was about 225 crores. Was the total revenue of Nelco last year. The industry, and we were about 26% market share currently.
Sure. Mr. Nath, I'm curious to know if you're leveraging on the strength of other Tata Group companies, or at least, engaged or engaging in any sort of strategic tie-ups or partnerships. Where does Nelco stand, for instance, in the context of Tata Enterprises and their data platforms? And how is it that you compare yourself in terms of operations with, say, a Tata Elxsi, or for that matter, Tatacom or TCS?
See, if you if you look at all the Tata companies that you named, they are not into satellite communication. Tata Communication is a telecom company more into fiber, cloud services, digital services. They are not into satellite communication. Similarly, TCS, we all know what they do, and similarly, Tata Elxsi. As an overall game plan, we work with Tata Group companies as well as we work for companies which are not part of the Tata Group. And we try to understand what the customer's requirements are, what each of the company's requirements are, and accordingly we create the solutions. And we continuously look for new opportunities which can be addressed using the satellite communication. At this point, let me also tell you that today, so far, the satellite communication market, that is the VSAT services market, has been restricted because of the type of technologies available, the kind of price points which are there due to various factors, including the availability of capacity, the regulatory framework, etc. And therefore, it is a very niche play at the moment. But with more capacities coming in, with more the regulatory framework changing, with enabling us to get a newer type of technologies into the country, which can significantly augment the satellite communication services and can be used in many other sectors beyond what we are doing currently. With that, the market will increase. And that is where I said that the market can explode in the next 5 years with the new technologies coming in and with the right kind of regulatory framework coming into play in the country. And then we work with all the Tata companies wherever there is a need for any satellite communication, and that's how we do it.
Sure. So wanted to understand what kind of customers would you be targeting going forward? You said B2B is the focus right now, but any specific sectors or clients that you may be chasing?
Yeah, I would like to talk more of the sectors. The banking is one. We've got about 50,000 plus ATMs in the country which are connected using the VSAT services offered by us. The banking is one. The corporate networks, the education sector for distance education is one where instructor is there in one place, but the classrooms are spread across the country, and then VSATs are used for delivering the classes. So that is another one. Offshore energy, which is all the the offshore rigs which are there for oil exploration. That's another big market for us. We are also seeing gradually the e-commerce companies which are going to remote locations. As you go to remote locations, the availability of telecom infrastructure becomes a challenge. And therefore, again, the VSATs will start playing. Renewable energy, these are some of the markets which are opening up. Cellular backhaul is another area where to reach to the remote locations, it is very difficult to get good quality fiber. And that is, again, an area where the satellite communication services play a role. So that's the other one. Then we see the maritime customers, all the shipping companies, both domestic as well as international, who have got vessels in the Indian waters, would be using the visa service. They are our clients. Then we talked of the airlines. Currently, a lot of the international airlines which are already using our services while flying over India for offering onboard Wi-Fi services. But as and when the domestic airlines companies start offering those services, they'll also be our customers. So that's another big sector, important sector, which has not yet opened up, and we believe it will open up in the near future. So I think this gives it. And otherwise, any other corporate who requires to have connectivity for their branch offices, for their factories, for the dealer network across the country, particularly in locations where you don't have very reliable telecom infrastructure, that they are the ones who are our customers. The other where this will be also used is in terms of the remote village connectivity. So far, it has been mainly going on fiber, but as you keep going deeper into the country, it is very difficult to have reliable fiber, and it's very expensive to do that. And that is another area where the satellite communication will be more affordable and more preferred. And that is another segment that will be coming for the business service providers.
Sure. Great to speak with you, and thanks so much for taking the time out today.